Welcome back to part 3 of planning for international travel.
So next, setting up your phone and internet access.
That's you.
This me.
That's
So,
you all day.
all right. So when you are traveling internationally, your regular phone service is not going to work. Right, more than likely not going to work. So you want to plan this ahead of time. You want to reach out to your vendor, your carrier. A lot of them will have different international plans, so you can see what's available to them. We have some plans with our carrier where we can pick a certain destination that we're going to be in for the month, and then we're paying like $15 for the month to have that plan, and we can make local and long distance calls from there in that service, and everything else works the same. So you need to see if you need to get an eSIM card, look at getting like VPN access, just those different type of things. So just take that stuff into account. When you're on a cruise, a lot of times on the cruises, you can purchase their different packages for their Wi-Fi. So you can kind of use their Wi-Fi. It may be like a premium package for you to use that, but just making sure like you're turning off your roaming, so you're not going to get those huge bills at the end of your cruises. So just something to take into account, like how are you going to communicate with people, and then do you need like access to do like your streaming on social media and so on and so forth. Yeah, or work.
Some people go and travel and still have to work a few days. So
something very critical is downloading various apps that you're going to use for travel. So you want to take that, or you want me to?
Oh, no, you go ahead.
Okay, so when we travel, there's a couple of apps that we make sure we absolutely have on our phone. One is it's a CBP MPC app. I have to look at what it stands for. But when we got back from Greece, when we got to the airport, even though we have like global entry and we were able to fast track some of the lines, the line at the airport when we returned, it was crazy. It was crazy. Fortunately, one of the people that were working on the airport, they told us to download this app, and this allowed us to input our information for our passports, and they just had like a different line for you to be able to go through for that. So I will put that on the app. Also, My TSA, that app is critical for being able to see like what you can bring on the plane, not on the plane. It also allowed us to put in what's our known traveler number for our boarding passes for when we were using our global entry. Another one is Smart Traveler. The Smart Traveler, that's for I believe that's one for the State Department. But you put your information there as well, and you can see what's going on around the world for State Department. And then maps. So like when we went to Curacao, I can't remember the app, but you have like your standard Google Maps, but there's some locations that's internationally where they'll have their own apps that you want to download, where you want to install it on your phone, and then you can download the maps so the maps can work offline, right? So versus you have to have internet connectivity. I know when we went to Curacao, it was a challenge when we were going to some of the beaches.
Because we were driving places, we didn't know where we were.
Yeah.
We needed that offline map to continue.
Yes. So when you go, just kind of do a little bit of research on what maps are available, what apps are available, and definitely when it comes to the maps, downloading those maps on your phone so you have offline access.
Yep.
All right. And then you spoke to it a little bit before, making copies of those important documents.
Yeah. Passport, always make a copy of that. Your reservations, it's not a bad thing if you have a one-pager with all the information, booking numbers, confirmation codes, like just having that. Store it, it's great to have it on your phone, but you also have to remember sometimes the phone technology just doesn't work. And if you need something quick, it's quick to just pull out and be like, here's a one-pager of all the, whether it's the confirmations from airport for your flights or, your hotels, your excursions, like just having a one-pager for that is a great idea. That's just the end of it, along with your high-touch, I'll call it a high-touch itinerary.
All right. And next is one thing that we do, but she absolutely does. She even does this for her clients, is confirming everything prior to travel.
Yes. you would not be surprised how often you'll call a hotel and, they're like, oh, we can't find the booking. Like, excuse me? No, wait a minute now. Sometimes systems cross. It's just a good idea to have your confirmations, have your travel advisor to call ahead of time. If you don't have one and you're doing your travel piece, that's great. Just make sure you go through that extra step of confirmations. One, it lets the hotel know you're definitely coming, right? Two, any special milestones or things that they need to consider as you as a guest, right? You want to let them know if that wasn't in, excuse me, if that wasn't in your original booking, there's an opportunity to share that. Hey, I'm coming. It's my birthday. If you all want to do a little something complimentary, other than that, they may not know. Or it could be around, your bed options and setup of that. So I always go the extra mile of calling, making sure that the client is not going to run in, or myself, I'm not going to run into anything during my travels that's going to stop me. That's just... It's just an easier thing. But
and you say what, within like 42, 78 hours before?
Yeah,
so 2 to 3 days before?
Yeah, 2-3 days before. That way, if there's any changes that need to be done, it can get rectified. And that's the same with checking your name on your flight for your international flight. Often people get there and notice, oh man, they got my name spelled wrong. Well, guess what? That isn't the time to find out, right? You're gonna have to deal with that, and that's another stressor on top of you, potentially trying to get to board the plane on time. So those things can be avoided if you just take a minute, make sure you can, again, put your hands on your passport when you book, but consider those, those things right before you leave a couple of days. Make sure that money, as same with, I don't know if we talked about this, but the conversion of money, if you're going to do that, do it a week in advance so that you have enough time to get the converted money back and have it on you, and you don't have to waste your time with doing it at the airport, which often the fees are higher. So those are just some of the things you want to keep in consideration.
Yeah, and I'll add to a couple of things. So regarding the confirmation, so confirm your transfers, confirm your flights, confirm your hotel stays, confirm any excursions that you have.
Transportation.
Definitely confirm your transportation, right? So those are at least 5 things that you need to confirm. If you don't have a travel advisor, you need to do it on your own. And then when it comes to the currency, because we did skip over this, when we went to Greece, we went to our bank to get currency transferred into euros, and it took about like 3 or 4 days, maybe up to a week to get that done, right? So again, just plan in advance. Don't wait until the last minute to do that. And then you have PackSmart for international travel. So as far as like being weather appropriate attire.
Yeah, and one of my shameless plug. I love AccuWeather. Their apps. They have an app, and I use that when we go somewhere international. It is sometimes a pain in the tail to find out what the true weather is of where you're headed when it's an international trip. So I tend to use AccuWeather, but make sure that you check in the weather, because you don't know if you're going to get there in the middle of a storm. You don't know if they're calling for bad weather. You want to dress appropriately. You may leave one destination to travel to another, and if you're not appropriately dressed, then guess what? You may get there and it's raining. Well, you ain't pack an umbrella. Which is fine, right? But you may want to pack certain clothes to make sure that you're just good for whatever you're entering into.
All right. Then adapters, essentials, medication.
Always.
You can medication.
You can find our. I know we've talked about this in previous episodes of medicine and why it's important, but you want to definitely carry with you while you're traveling. Your medicine, may want to consider taking 1 to 3 days worth. You just don't know which you're going to get caught. A lot of people, I remember last year, or it was earlier, I apologize, earlier this year, we had real bad snowstorms in the DMV area, and people were stuck at the airport. People were stuck trying to get back home, which means, now if you didn't pack for all of that, right, or can take that in consideration, medicine is one of those essential things. So you do want to take that and think through that appropriately.
Yeah, make sure you have enough for the duration of your travel. Make sure your medication's in the original like packaging, right? So if you're at the airport or whatever, that they can see like what that medication is. Don't show up with medication in a plastic bag, or
I mean, you can, but
well, you shouldn't. Unmarked plastic bag or aluminum foil talking about this is my medication, is little white pills. I'm just saying this.
don't get called out for nothing crazy.
All right, and last but not least, prepare for arrival. So have your immigration forms together. Definitely know your first destination, right? And plan for that. All right.
Remember, traveling international does not need to be difficult. We just need to plan for it.
And join us for our next video, where we will discuss the biggest mistakes to avoid when traveling internationally. And if you like this video, hit the like button, subscribe, and also give us a comment. And remember to always travel different, travel all in.